We'll talk about the countries tiers by geography. So we'll be talking about the countries with the worst geography to the best. So first country is Andorra. It's a European microstate. So if you do not know what Andorra is this place here. Yes, Andorra has mountains, which is a very good thing. But look at it's surrounded by two countries, France and Spain. Okay, Andorra only has 100,000 people. So it instantly goes into the F tier geography. Next we have Arab Emirates. So the Arab Emirates is around here. Okay. And you'll think, oh, Emirates, F tier geography. Okay. Desert. It's just desert. But Arab Emirates has a very useful natural resource, and that's oil. Okay. Arab Emirates turned, a useless desert into oil-rich haven, so it's not F tier, obviously. But I wouldn't classify it as even A tier or B tier. Okay, you have stronger countries surrounding it. Iran, Saudi Arabia, and yes, Arab Emirates is rich, but they're surrounded by more powerful countries. But Arab Emirates can also have to deal with Iran. Okay, Iran has this very long coastline here. It could easily blockade Arab Emirates if they are at war. So it's it's a good geography, but it's not really perfect. So Arab Emirates goes in C tier. Next is Afghanistan. So we're going right over here of Afghanistan. Okay, Afghanistan is considered the graveyard of empires for a reason. Its geography is good both and bad. Let me explain. Okay, Afghanistan is mostly mountains. Okay, makes it extremely hard to navigate and take over. But Afghanistan also has pretty bad geography because it's landlocked as well. Despite being mostly mountains, it's surrounded by more powerful countries. But it's able to repel. It will probably be able to defeat many of its more powerful countries. So it's not an F tier country. I think it'll be a C tier. So Afghanistan, Antigua and Barbuda, is an F tier. So Antigua and Barbuda is right here. Okay. And you know why Antigua and Barbuda is F tier geography. Okay. It's two islands. That's two islands. Okay. It's F tier. Easily. Well, it's really detailed for non-countries, but Angola would be an F tier anyways. Next is Albania. Albania would be in D tier. Albania is not good due to its really tiny size. Albania is this big. Okay, you have Greece to the south. You have Serbia to the north. You also have some more weak areas like Montenegro and North Macedonia, but Albania is also extremely close to Italy. That's why Italy was able to invade Albania so easily in World War II. Albania was also taken over relatively quickly by the Romans and Greeks and other empires. So Albania is a country that is pretty bad geography-wise. It does have some mountains to the north, but it's mostly, its capital is a bit inland. So they're gonna have to go through, but yeah, it's a D tier country geography-wise. Next is Armenia. So Armenia is squashed between Russia, Turkey, and Iran. Very similar to Azerbaijan, but Armenia has the worst geography of the three of Georgia and Azerbaijan, because Georgia, there's mountains to the north, same as Azerbaijan, but Armenia doesn't really have anything to defend itself with. There's some deserts and some forests, but it's a really weak country. Okay, so geography-wise, Armenia is in detail. Next is Angola. Angola's geography is pretty weird. You have some deserts here. The problem is its capital is like right here. It can easily be invaded, and Angola is mostly like jungle and like savanna. Okay, but Angola, I don't think is a very good country geography. Like people will talk about geography, they never say, "Oh yeah, Angola has great geography." Okay, Angola, can easily be invaded and can easily be defeated by a much more powerful. But if in Africa, the only country that could all the countries I think around, the only good thing is Angola, but also is surrounded by weaker countries. Okay, Namibia and Botswana have no people. Zambia is probably its strongest neighbor because the Congo. Yes, the Congo has way more people, but the Congo is the Congo. The DRC is the DRC. Okay, and you have the Republic of the Congo. You also have this strip of land here. Okay, and also the Congo declares war on Angola. Angola can easily just close off the Congo's only port. So Angola goes in CTL. Next is Argentina. Argentina goes all the way up in 8. There was no need to explain why Argentina's geography is good. It has mountains on this side of the country. On the western side of the country, there's a lot of good fertile land. You also have deserts to the south. You're surrounded by mostly weaker neighbors, except for Brazil. Okay. And overall, Argentina is pretty geographically powerful. But again, Argentina is one of the few countries where they waste their potential and continue to be a corrupt country. So Argentina, because of their failure and their corruption, managed to stay a poor country. So yeah, Argentina. They also have a river that ends around Buenos Aires as well, and also have a lot of arable land as well. So Argentina is definitely a very geographically, strategically powerful country. Next is Austria. So where would Austria go? Austria has mountains, but not as defended as Switzerland. Austria has a lot of mountains as well. But Austria used to be a very important country in Europe. It not really is anymore. Its capital is Vienna, right here. But modern day Austria has okayest geography. It's not really the best geography in Europe. It doesn't really have many. It only has around 10 million people. You have Germany of 80 million, Poland of 40 million, Italy of 80 million. You also have all these Balkan countries, which Austria was able to defeat many of these Balkan countries historically in the past. I would put Austria in the middle. I think that's very reasonable. Next is Australia. People say Australia's geography is so great. It's BTL. And here's why. And also you have these countries here. Okay. Yes, Australia is mostly desert. But Australia, most of the people live along the coast, which isn't very good. Okay. It's very isolated from the rest of the world. Same thing with New Zealand. Okay, its closest neighbor is Indonesia, which has around 279 million people. At least according to certain sources, some people say it's around 270 million, around 280 million people within Indonesia. You also have to deal with China up here, which is, a very large country. You also have India over here. Australia is never going to become a very influential country compared to those countries, okay? Australia only has around 25 million people, around 25 million people, okay? Most of its country is uninhabitable. It's useless, okay? Australia is not the greatest geography in the world, okay? Most of its land is useless. Most people live on the coast. It doesn't really have much arable land. So overall, Australia, yes, it'll be easy to defend in a war because it's such a large landmass, but in reality, Australia isn't that strong of a country, okay? That's just the reality of Australia. Next is Azerbaijan. So we already talked about Armenia, but Azerbaijan is around the same level as Armenia. Next is Bosnia and Herzegovina. So we talked about Azerbaijan with Armenia, so we'll talk about Bosnia and Herzegovina. It doesn't have any coastline. It is completely surrounded by much more powerful countries except for Montenegro. Okay, Bosnia also has, ethnic conflicts as well. It's not a it has really bad geography. Okay, simple as that. Okay, it's in DTL, not FTL. Next is Barbados, that's FTL. So if you do not know what Barbados is, okay, Barbados is a small island over here. Okay, its geography is pretty awful. Okay, it's another island. Okay, one island. Okay, it has literally it doesn't even have 1 million people. Okay, Barbados has pretty bad geography. Simple as that. Okay, next country is Bangladesh. Bangladesh is DTL. Okay, and I'll explain why. So Bangladesh's geography is not that good, obviously. Okay, so Bangladesh is almost completely surrounded by India, but India is way more populated, way more powerful, and way more influential than Bangladesh is. Also, Bangladesh is very, very flat. It's mostly reliant on these rivers here. It's also extremely overpopulated as well. But yeah, Bangladesh is just it could be geographically, it's very unimportant compared to its neighbor India as well. Doesn't really, and also it's very flat too. So, and also it's relies on this river, which is easily navigable as well. So it's a very easy country to defeat. So Bangladesh is not that good. Next country is Belgium also goes in detail. So Belgium is this country here. Right here, not France, that's France. But Belgium, obviously it's detailed geography, okay? It's a small country by two extremely strong neighbors. Okay. Belgium was able to be invaded many times by France, many times by Germany in history. Okay. Belgium is a very weak country. Okay. Is mostly flat as well, It has a small coastline which can easily be blockaded by Britain or some other country, or even the Netherlands. Okay, but it's also a pretty flat country. It's a pretty strategically, it's very it's kind of like it's just a buffer state. That's all it really is. To cover for France's geographical weaknesses. Next country, and that's Burkina Faso, and that's a detailed geography right there. So Burkina Faso is a mostly landlocked country. Actually, it's a landlocked country. It's a mostly desert country. I meant desert country. It's mostly made up of, desert and savanna. It is landlocked. It is among one of the poorest countries in the world. Need I say more? It's a pretty bad geography-wise country. So, yeah. Next is Bulgaria. I'll put Bulgaria in C tier. Okay. Bulgaria has pretty decent geography for a Balkan country. It has some mountains in the country. It is a bit flat, but it was invaded many times as well. But Bulgaria was able, at least at some points in history, able to protect out its power. But its rivals have caught up with it in terms of power and, population as well. So yeah, Bulgaria is pretty okay as geography, but it's still at the of Turkey, Greece, Romania, and Serbia, all of its rivals here as well. It does have access to the sea, which can easily. Actually, Bulgaria isn't that. Okay, Bulgaria goes in detail. This is Qatar. Okay, at the same reasons for Arab Emirates. It has pretty bad geography. Qatar. Oh wait, that's Bahrain. Qatar is the one with the red, with the darker red. Yeah, Bahrain. If you didn't know this country exists, yeah, it's this country right here. Okay, it is a very small island by Saudi Arabia, essentially. Okay, it can be cut off pretty easily. Okay, and it's a very rich country, but it can be cut off pretty easily. It's a pretty small, rich country, and that's all Bahrain is, not Bulgaria. Next is Burundi. So Burundi is detail. Okay, Burundi is here. Need I say more why Burundi has the worst geography in the world? It's surrounded by Uganda, Congo, and Tanzania, and Rwanda to the north. Okay, Burundi is the weakest neighbor of all the countries surrounding it. Actually, it'll be the second non-island country to go in F tier. Okay, there is no geographical advantages in Burundi. Okay, or Burundi. Okay, none absolutely after. Okay, next is Benin. Benin goes in detail. Okay, Benin is right by Nigeria, which is a much more powerful country and a much more economically important country. It has a Porto Novo. It's mostly like jungle and stuff, stuff like that. So it's pretty hard, but again, you have Nigeria right bordering you. You also border Burkina Faso and Niger, where it's out even weaker countries. You also have Togo to the west of it. So Benin is not a very strategically, very, very, it's, no one says, oh yeah, Benin, the most, geographically important country in the world. Okay. Next country, Brunei. Yeah, FTL. So if you do not know where Brunei is, okay, Brunei is here. And its geography is pretty bad. First of all, it is completely separated, and also no one lives here. And also it's completely surrounded by Malaysia as well. So yeah, don't really need to say anything more. Next is Bolivia. Okay, Bolivia goes in detail. So we have updated the tier list, and now a GTL for the worst of the worst. But anyway, why is Bolivia so bad? First of all, it's landlocked. Where it's, you don't want to be landlocked. It's very, very bad. But the only country that is weaker to it is Paraguay, which is yet another landlocked country. Bolivia does have It does have pretty high mountains, but also does Peru and Chile. So, and Argentina. So, those countries who have troops that are used to fighting in the mountains. Okay, unlike Iraq, which didn't. And you also have Brazil right to the north of you. Okay, and Brazil has over 200 million people. Okay, Bolivia, obviously, in South America, has probably one of the worst geography in the world. So overall, Bolivia is a DTL country. Next is Brazil. I think Brazil is the first country that is deserving of the STL ranking, and you can see why. So first of all, Brazil is a very large country. Obviously, you have the Amazon here, and you have the core here, which is mostly, you have some jungle here, but it's a very large country. Okay, it's a very large country. As Brazil has 200 million people. Okay, more than every other country in South America. Okay, Argentina has around nearly 50 million. Colombia has around 50 million. Peru has 30 million. Yeah, it's basically, equivalent to the rest of South America. Okay, Brazil has, it's huge. The only country that other country in the Americas was to get to in another one of the videos, if we split this into several parts, it's the United States of America. But Brazil is the first STL country overall. Okay, there is very little steel. Every country surrounding Brazil is weaker than Brazil. There's no country that is stronger than Brazil outside the United States of America that is even near it. Okay, as well. So yeah, next country. Next country is Bahamas. Do we even need to explain why Bahamas is in the Z tier, the lowest tier? Okay, Bahamas is right around here. Okay, right around here. It's just a bunch of islands. Okay, it's a great vacation spot for many people, but geography-wise, it's, very, very bad. Excuse me. It's very bad. Okay, it's very, very close to the United States, and also it's a bunch of islands. Okay, it has no people, and it's probably a very, very easy and quick country to invade. They could probably just easily take over Nassau and Bahamas surrenders very quickly. That's what most of the people live in Bahamas. So yeah. Next we have Bhutan. People say that Bhutan is like a secret S tier geography wise, but look at what countries. Bhutan goes in Z tier. Okay. Bhutan, if you do not know what Bhutan is right here. It quite possibly has some of the worst geography in the world. Okay, Bhutan is surrounded by two massive countries, China and India. Both of those countries, at this current moment, have over 1 billion people. Okay, both countries are way more militarily powerful than Bhutan. Bhutan is full of mountains, but really the Indian and Chinese troops are prepared to fight in the Himalayas. So, very similar to Nepal, Bhutan is just awful geography-wise. It's also landlocked as well. Okay, so yeah, overall Bhutan is, bottom tier geography-wise. There's also no strategic importance of why we invade Bhutan anyways. But even then, Bhutan, there's like no strategic importance to it either. Okay, next country. We're skipping the islands that Norway owns, and we're talking about Botswana. Botswana has FTL geography. Okay, so you don't know what Botswana is? Botswana is around here. Okay, it is a country that is mostly desert with very little natural resources. Okay, that's all I need to explain. Nobody lives in Botswana either. So yeah. Next is Belarus, which also goes in the FTL. Many Eastern European countries have pretty bad geography. I think of them all, the Baltics and Belarus have it worse. Okay, in Moldova. Okay, Belarus is surrounded by is in between Russia and Germany. Belarus has basically just been fought over between Russia and Germany in World War I, World War II, and before that, you have all countries trying to fight over Eastern Europe. And overall, Belarus just has pretty bad geography, the modern day area. So yeah, Belarus, no need to explain any further why Belarus has bad geography. Belize, yep. Don't need to explain why Belize has bad geography. So where is Belize? Well, Belize is a small country by Guatemala and Mexico. Okay, and people say, oh yeah, Belize must have a lot of people. Mexico has, 140 million people, and Guatemala has 16. Oh wait, Belize has the same amount of population as the Bahamas. No one lives here. So Belize is screwed if Mexico or Guatemala decide to invade it. Okay, that's simple as that. Okay, Belize is screwed either way. Next is Canada. Canada is in BTL, similar to Australia. Here's why. People say, "Oh, Canada is a very large country," but here's the thing: most of Canada's population lives by the United States. Okay. Most of the population lives in the southern portion of the country. No one lives in Nunavut. No one lives in Northeast Territories. No one lives in Yukon. Okay, people do live in Ontario, Quebec, and all the states in the South, but Canada is very much close to the United States. Okay, the United States has 330 million people, meanwhile Canada only has a measly 40 million. Okay, heck, Canada never had, until very recently, never had a population more than every American state. Okay, but the thing is, Canada has very cold temperatures, so it's very, very similar to Finland versus Russia. Finland was able to beat Russia despite only having around a couple million people. So yeah, Canada is a country that is, it also has to deal with the cold temperatures, but America also owns Alaska. Okay, as well, they can evade from Alaska. Okay. You also have Greenland as its other border, where it's, again, you even want to count that. The only advantage Canada has is the winter weather. But again, places like Montana and Colorado, North Dakota, and Alaska get just as cold. So, yeah. Canada is not the S tier and God tier of geography. Next country is the Congo. Yep. This is the first, actually big country. And why does Congo have such bad geography? So, Congo is basically the country we're talking about when we talk about Angola. Yes, Congo is a massive country. But, look at this. This is the port of the DRC. It can be easily blocked off in a battle. Which the Congo has no way to sustain itself because the Congo is one of the most poorest and impoverished countries in the world. You have to remember that as well. So the Congo can easily be blocked off because of its tiny coast, which means a massive country with a massive land base can easily be blocked off. And also it has to sell the Congo River with the other Congo. So you can't really use the Congo River because that's a sell with the other Congo as well, which empties down into here, which also can be blocked off at the mouth of the river. So a country like Angola can easily defeat a country like the DRC simply because of how impoverished, how corrupt this country is, and also how geographically disadvantaged this country is. Okay, Congo has a wealth of natural resources, but it can be blocked off easily, meaning that Congo can't really project out its power. Okay. Yes, every country surrounding the Congo has less people. But does that matter when the Congo is just a country that can be blocked off pretty easily by any of its neighbors? Except for the landlocked neighbors. Okay, Angola can easily block off the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Tanzania can easily block off the Democratic Republic of the Congo by blocking off its port. Okay. We don't need to talk about this country anymore. Next is Central African Republic, which also goes in the bottom TL of geography. So Central African Republic is right above the Congo, and it's landlocked. It's in a constantly. Oh yeah, Congo and African Republic are constantly in war and ethnic conflicts all the time, and it's a landlocked country surrounded by mostly stronger neighbors, including countries like Cameroon, Sudan. Okay, and Congo could probably even beat Central African Republic. Okay, Central African Republic is a very weak country. Okay, and it's no surprise it's near the bottom. It's at the bottom of the geography list. Next is the other Congo. I'll give the favorites DRC and put it in F tier too. The other Congo, which is richer than the DRC, and also has an actual coastline. Okay, it has some oil as well, but also is a country that is, borders, Kinshasa, which, is very, very bad. Yeah, as well. So yeah, both of the Congos go together. We're gonna put them both in detail and figure out the Congo side. Next, this is Ivory Coast. This is not Ireland. We'll get to Ireland later. Ivory Coast will have detailed geography. Okay. Hiding all these countries are PL. So Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast has a long coastline. With all of its neighbors except for Ghana is weaker. It's surrounded by weaker neighbors with the exception of Ghana. It's a very important coast area in West Africa. So overall, not bad geography wise, but not the best. Next country, Switzerland. Well, Switzerland has been named the fortress for good reasons. Okay. Switzerland has some of the best geography in Europe. The only downside of Switzerland, it had no coastlines. Okay. But Switzerland is a very rich country, surrounded by Germany, France, and Italy. Switzerland is also a neutral country. Okay. As well. And also Switzerland also has the Swiss Alps, which it can defend itself in the Swiss Alps as well. Most of Switzerland lives in the more low-lying parts of the countries, obviously. But the Switzerland is a very strong, it's not the S-tier geography. Obviously, it's not. It's surrounded by a bunch of stronger neighbors. But Switzerland is still, pretty powerful and important country in Europe as well. So Switzerland, I would put in BTL geography because of its natural defenses as well. And now basically Switzerland is prepped to use its geography to its advantage. Next is Chile. Chile, I would put it in C tier. Okay, no, I'll put it in D tier. Okay, Chile has some pretty okayest geography, but the thing is, Chile is a pretty long country. There's a lot of mountains, and Santiago is actually Chile's geography isn't that bad as well. Okay. As well, and maybe we'll put Azerbaijan in detail because it is more powerful than its two other neighbors, but it also has landmarks, so put it in F tier by Armenia. But yeah, Chile isn't that bad geography wise. There's mountains, it can easily be defended against as well. There we go about Chile. Next country is Cameroon. Okay, Cameroon's geography is alright. It'll go in detail. So if you don't know what Cameroon is, it's right by Nigeria right here. It is surrounded by mostly weaker countries, except for Nigeria. And it has pretty decent geography in Africa. Its capital isn't a PL. It's around here. Its largest city is a port city as well. And this island is owned by Equatorial Guinea, but Equatorial Guinea is a very weak country, so they can easily take that over. So yeah, overall, Cameroon in Africa is actually a pretty strategically, compared to its neighbors, good. But it is, borders Nigeria, which is much stronger than Cameroon. I think Cameroon should go in the D tier, definitely. Next, we have China. China, of course, has amazing geography. Okay. So China, of course, is this country right here. And once you've been living under a rock, you should know what China is. China is it's the country that looks like a really say Mickey Mouse. Here. So China, it has some of the largest farmlands in the world. It is able to feed its massive population of over 1.4 billion as well. Some sources say 1.3, 1.1 to 1.3 billion. But China is a massive country. It's a massively developed country as well, and it also has two of the biggest rivers in the world, which is the Yangtze and Yellow rivers. I think that's what the second river is called. I think the second river is called the Yellow River. But China also has desert to its side. It's surrounded by weaker countries like Korea, and it's surrounded to very weak countries to the south like Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand. And it's also surrounded by mountains in India as well. And also has Mongolia to the north and Russia to the north, which is mostly Siberia. So China is a very, 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 very good geography-wise in terms of the world. and has always been a very important country in terms of geography. Next country, Colombia. Colombia's geography is pretty underrated. Not as great as Brazil or China. Colombia, as you do not know, is right here. The thing is, Colombia put their capital in actually a pretty good location. If they were dumb and put their capital on the coast, then yeah, it's like Venezuela. But Colombia's capital is very strategically important because Brazil would have to go through more Amazon forest, and other countries that invade through the coast would have to go through more rainforest and mountains to reach Bogota. So Colombia, I think, is a more improved version of Switzerland's geography as well. And they took it to the extreme and actually put the capital right in the dead center of the country where the mountains is. But the thing is, Colombia doesn't really have a lot of arable land compared to like China or United States or Argentina or even Brazil. So they're all worse than Colombia. They're all not worse. They're all better than Colombia, not worse. But yeah, Colombia has pretty good geography, all things considered. Next country. So next country is Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a pretty small country. So yeah, it's not I'll put it in detail. So Costa Rica is right here. The capital is in the middle of the country, so you have to go at least a bit. Yeah, we'll talk about Mexico probably another video, because this video is getting pretty long. Mexico's geography isn't as great as Colombia's simply because there's no real coastal cities. Like, if you look at Colombia, you actually have coastal cities here, like Bagirga and Cartagena, right here, which go towards Bogota as well. But Costa Rica has pretty okay geography. Okay, it's a small country. It's mostly jungles and forests as well. So Costa Rica has pretty okay geography, all things considered. Next country is Cuba, and this is not a country. Curaçao and Christmas Island. Next is Cuba. Okay. Cuba I'll put in the detail as well. Cuba is a very long country, and it's an island, which means it's going to be a very hard country to blockade. Also, its capital, Havana, is on the coast. The only problem is it's very, very, very close to Florida. Okay, Key West, which is right here, is not too far from Havana. That's why Cuba is not getting anywhere higher than D. But Cuba, if America wasn't as powerful as it is, Cuba would actually have a pretty strategic advantage over places like Haiti, Dominican Republic, and others because of how long the island of Cuba is as well. So yeah, Cuba has pretty good geography, but it's hampered by its neighbors. Next country is Cape Verde. Do I need to even explain why Cape Verde is an FTL geography? Do I need to even explain? Yeah, it's just a bunch of islands. Moving on. Next is Cyprus. Yep. No. Okay, Cyprus probably has some of the worst geography. Okay, it's by Turkey. Oh, big. It's an island. Okay, but look at this. Yeah, that's why Cyprus has bad geography. Moving on. Next is Czech Republic, which I think also goes in FTL geography. Czech Republic has some mountains, like around. I think Czech Republic don't have the mountains, Yeah, I think Czech Republic does have mountains, but again, it's not a very populated country. Also, it's entirely almost bordered by Germany and Poland, which are much more populated countries. It was still able to be invaded relatively quickly as well. Yeah, there's mountains in Czechia, but the mountains don't really protect Czechia all too much as, a very unpopulated country. Prague is actually in a place to the important area, so I'll put it higher than FTL. Because it does have some mountains. So go in detailed geography. Next is Germany itself. Okay, where does Germany go? It goes in the BTL. So Germany as a country is able to project itself, but the thing is, Germany has one problem. And it has two problems. One over here, which is Russia, and one over here, France. Even if Russia starts to fail as a country, Germany will always have to worry about France. Even if stuff like the EU and stuff fall, Germany is always going to have to worry about a country like France. Okay, a country like France is pretty powerful. Yes, Germany has 80 million people. France also has 60 million people. But Germany is mostly surrounded by weaker neighbors. Okay, It's surrounded by Poland, Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark, Czech Republic, Austria, and Switzerland. All of these countries are far weaker than Germany. And Germany has pretty good geography. Despite it mostly being flat land, again, Germany has the people, though. Okay, Germany has a lot of people. And it used to be France to be the most popular, but now it's Germany. And also Russia. But, again, it's going to take a while for Germany to even get... And Russia is rated influence anyways. Meanwhile, Germany is at its height... is probably at one of its highest peaks in power. Considering that Germany is basically one of the biggest guys in the EU. So, yeah. Next country. Djibouti. Djibouti is an FTL. Geography. Okay. It's a very strategically important country. Yes, it is. But it's a tiny country. Okay. Djibouti is a tiny country. But it can block off... Actually, Djibouti, despite being a tiny country, is actually... Considering how strategically important Djibouti is, I'll put it in CTO. It doesn't really have any people, but it's considered... So many countries use Djibouti as it want to be allied with Djibouti, including China, America, for a reason. So yeah, Djibouti, yes, it can be easy to be invaded, but I think it's a strategically important country to ally with as well. So Djibouti goes in CTO, considering how strategically important Djibouti is. So yeah, next country is... Oh, Dominica, yeah. Dominica. Do I need to even explain why Dominica is an FTL? No, we're getting this one out of the way. Dominica. Do we need to even explain why Dominica? Oh, yes, it's an island. That's all it is. An island. Next is Denmark. Denmark. Sorry to Danish people. Your country is going in detail geography-wise. Okay, Denmark used to be a very strategically important country. Okay, it used to be a very strategically important country. It can block off... It basically can block off Russia's access to the sea. But Sweden can do that too. Considering that Sweden exists and is more populated, more important than Denmark ever will be. And yeah, basically Sweden is much more powerful than Denmark. Okay, that's why Sweden had it. Denmark had an empire at the very beginning. But ever since Sweden has become more populated and more powerful than Denmark, Denmark has never been able to escape Sweden's shadow. And then you also have its neighbor to the south, Germany, as well, which has way more people than Denmark. That's why Denmark is in detail. Next country is Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic goes in F tier as well. Goes in D tier. Okay. So Dominican Republic, you'll think, oh, it borders Haiti, okay? But you gotta realize, it's Haiti, okay? It's freaking Haiti. One of the most mismanaged countries in the world. Dominican Republic is much more prosperous than Haiti is. People would rather go here than go to Haiti. Also, Dominican Republic has way more land. It also is more mountainous than Haiti. So, making Dominican Republic the winner of the geographical war against Haiti. So yeah, Dominican Republic has better geography than Haiti. Next country. Next country is Algeria. So Algeria, that's since we'll skip them. Algeria, where does Algeria go? Algeria goes in CTL. So Algeria has always been like a strategically important place in history. You know, it's a large country. It's full of desert, mountains, and stuff. Algeria has been invaded many times in its history, but it is finally catching up to Europe and them. But again, Europe is still more powerful than all the North African countries. You know, Algeria has always been controlled by countries that are like Europe and stuff. But Algeria's geography is actually pretty good because, you have the mountains, as well. And the north, you have Algiers as well. It has pretty good geography, as well. So Algeria, pretty good geography for a country in North Africa. Next country is Ecuador. Ecuador is basically just Colombia but smaller. Ecuador is basically just Colombia but smaller. It's you have the port, you have Guayaquil, you also have Quito, you have the Amazon forest, and the Amazon forest, you also have the mountains here, the Andes, and you also have the more jungle here. It's basically just Colombia but way less impressive and smaller. Simple as that. Next we have Estonia. Do I need to even explain why Estonia is an FTL geography? Actually, Estonia goes in ZTL. Do I need to explain why Estonia sucks geography-wise? It's in the Baltic Sea, okay? You have Finland to the north. Latvia, which has more people. It is surrounded by countries with more people. It's also the smallest of the Baltic states as well. And geography-wise, it's the worst of the three. So, yeah. Simple as... Next, you have Egypt. People say, oh, Egypt has a lot of people. Oh, no, Egypt is FTL. Okay, Egypt is FTL. Okay, if the Nile River dries up, Egypt is effed. Okay, Egypt is effed if the Nile River is blocked or damaged in any way. Okay, Egypt is a lot of desert, but Egypt is mostly just the Nile River. And the Nile River gets blocked by Ethiopia, Egypt is gonna die as a country. Simple as that. So yeah, Egypt has pretty bad geography. Okay, Cairo is pretty in the Nile River, and that's all I can really say about. Also, actually, Egypt controls the Suez Canal. I didn't think of that. Actually, Egypt's geography is actually much better if you think about the Suez Canal. You know, considering that Egypt controls the Suez Canal, we're gonna put Egypt in BTL, considering they control the Suez Canal, which is one of the most important trade routes in the world. Next is Eritrea. Eritrea is an FTL. Do I need to even explain why Eritrea is an FTL? It could be easily blocked by both Egypt or, Djibouti and any countries with the military bases in Djibouti. Heck, it's poor. It's surrounded by both Ethiopia and Sudan. And yeah, that's simple as that. It's also mostly desert as well. Next is, EU. Get out of here. Next is Spain. Okay. Spain, all things considered, has pretty good geography. I'll put it in BTL. Put Spain in BTL. Actually, all things considered, we could put more countries in ATL. We could put Spain in ATL. We could put Colombia and Germany in ATL as well. Okay. Okay, so Spain is right around here. So Spain has mountains to the north, so France isn't really an issue because France is still going to have to navigate these mountains here. Okay. The Pyrenees. And also, Spain borders Gibraltar, which is owned by Britain, and Morocco, because there's some islands, and Portugal, Andorra, and France. Okay, Portugal is always going to be way weaker than France, because there's way less land space as well. Also, Spain has Morocco to the south, which is a weaker country. So overall, Spain was a country that was able to basically take control of all this land space in the past. It used to be a very strategically important area. So yeah, Spain has pretty good geography, all things considered. Next is Ethiopia. Ethiopia, people were like, oh, it's landlocked. How could Ethiopia have ATL geography? But Ethiopia is basically the Switzerland of Africa. But here's the thing about Ethiopia. Almost every country surrounding Ethiopia is weak. All of Ethiopia's neighbors are weaker. Okay, Djibouti, which basically Ethiopia also has a military base in Djibouti. So basically because Ethiopia and Djibouti are good friends, basically Ethiopia can use Djibouti's ports. Okay. It's surrounded by Eritrea, which again, Eritrea is weaker. South Sudan, poor. Kenya, and we all know Somalia. The only countries that could stand up to Ethiopia would be Kenya and Sudan. Okay. Ethiopia also is blessed of having mountainous geography, which is very great, all things considered. Ethiopia's core is, and guess what all the biggest cities in Ethiopia is? Italy had to use dirty tactics to defeat Ethiopia. They had to use dirty tactics, unconventional warfare to defeat Ethiopia. And they almost didn't even win. So Ethiopia has pretty good geography, all things considered. So yeah, Ethiopia, people say that Ethiopia could become a superpower country in the future. So yeah, next country. Next country is Finland. Oh, Finland doesn't have. Finland is in C tier, and here's why. So yeah, this will be the last country for today. Finland is here. Okay, Finland is very cold. Okay, but Finland was able to repel the Soviet Union, a country with way, way, way more people. Okay, Finland, they must have the gigachads in Finland because they were able to repel the Soviet Union pretty easily. And this was before, the Nazis invaded the Soviet Union. But Finland has pretty good geography. It could block off the Soviet Union pretty easily. Okay. It was able to defeat the Soviet Union, even though the Soviet Union owned all of this. But it could easily block off Russia from a St. Petersburg port. Considering that Finland and Estonia are both in NATO, these countries could basically just block off Russia very easily. Okay, as well. Land? Well, Finland's mostly made of forest, Arctic land, and water. Whereas Finland can easily defend its land. So Finland has pretty okay geography. So we have gotten through a extensive list of countries as well. We'll make a part 2 later.